Moving to Israel? Awesome. Acclimated to life here? Not as awesome. Welcome to Oleh Chadash Toolbox Talks, tips and tricks to help you acclimate to your life here in Israel.
Welcome to another installment of Olim Toolbox Talks, 28 minutes of Tachlis for Olim. My name is Sid Slifko, and I'm delighted to introduce our presenter for this week, Ora Derovan from Ulpan La-Inyan, who will discuss everything you wanted to know about learning Hebrew in an Ulpan, but weren't able to ask because you don't speak Hebrew all that well. But by the end of this presentation, you'll know a little bit more than you did before, and you'll also be able to ask questions at the end of the presentation as well. Ora, I pass the mantle on to you. Please take it away.
Hi, welcome. I'm going to speak in English because I'm assuming that Hebrew is something that you all have to learn. Let me start by introducing myself. I was born in the US and I moved to Israel when I was 15 years old. I went to a boarding school and was thrown into the deep end, and I had to sink or swim, so I learned the language. It was pretty difficult in the beginning, and I didn't have to go to an Ulpan. I mean, I didn't go to an Ulpan because I basically had to just manage. I picked it up the hard way, but that's something that definitely has its challenges. And what I wanted to share with you today is that learning a language is something that doesn't have to be extremely painful. It might be challenging, but it is definitely something that I think over the years I have a few insights on what can make it much more doable, pleasant, and even fun. um, so I want to start with, I've been running Ulpan La-Inyan for close to 10 years now. And over the years, we were completely private. We worked with the government. I kind of got to know the picture. I also had the experience of many people telling me that that they have really tried many methods, and it didn't work for them yet. So you kind of learn from trial and error as well. So what I wanted to share with you, I'm going to just share my screen now with you. And I wanted to start from the beginning. There's many different ways of learning a language. Formal ways of learning the language, taking the course is definitely one way. And there are a lot of ways of picking up a language along the way. And even though in this talk, I'm going to focus on studying a course, studying in an Ulpan, studying officially, there are lots of informal ways that are very important that you can pick up along the way, and it will only make the process easier. It'll make the process more it'll help everything that you're learning sink in. The informal learning that you can do, or some examples are watching television in Hebrew, and you can turn on the subtitles, turn off the subtitles, can see how much of it you get. There's an Ivrit Kala newspaper that you can read. You can try, if you like sports, to watch your sports in Hebrew. If you like, if someone with children can say, okay, you can have cartoon time, but it's going to be in Hebrew. Those are ways that you can start learning even before you actually start learning. And these are things that I think everyone can be doing right away. What I wanted to talk about more in depth was when is the right time to start learning in an Ulpan? Is there such a thing as starting too soon? People that are planning Aliyah, but they're not ready to make Aliyah yet. When is the right time to go? So the answer that I have for everyone is the more that you come with, the better it is. If you know how to read and write already, but you don't know how to speak so well, You take a level, you get into a conversation, then when you get off the plane, it's not that you won't need Ulpan at all. It's just that it'll be much, much easier. You'll start from a much better place. When doing when if someone doesn't know Hebrew at all, then of course it seems like there's really, really a ways to go. But even learning how to read and write before you come will put you ahead of the game. It will make it something that will be much, much easier for you. And that is something that I recommend to everyone. I think once upon a time, people had to be dependent on their neighborhood Ulpan offerings or whatever courses they had. Nowadays, with an online ability to connect, it makes it so, so, so much easier. And soon I'm going to elaborate a lot more on what it is that you can do to start learning now, and more specifically, finding the right path for you. I want to say a few words for everyone, those of you that are planning Aliyah and those of you that have made Aliyah, about government Ulpan. I don't know if you like this picture, but in the government Ulpanim offers something that is wonderful because it's free, and everyone likes free. Jews like free even more. And the government Ulpanim started in the 50s so that anyone could come off the boat, and they have the ability to learn Hebrew and to get a big bulk of hours that the government is funding. I actually heard today that they're trying to pass a law. This current government is trying to pass a law that every Oleh should be entitled to 1,000 hours of language study. They haven't passed the bill, and I don't know how it's going to translate into practical steps, but the reality is that the government-funded Ulpanim are available during the daytime for the most part, with a few exceptions in Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, and even those are limited courses on limited levels. Most people that want to go to government Ulpan need to be available in the mornings. They need to give a good number of hours. There's a famous 5-5-5, 5 days a week, 5 hours a day for 5 months. And that's how you get to 500 hours of Ulpan. That Ulpan, although it is a precious gift and a lot can be learned in that, there's a problem with trying to learn a language 5 hours a day. I don't know about you, but I can't concentrate on anything for 5 hours at once. When learning a new language, you need time to take it in. You need time to review. You need to get some, move on, and come back to it in order to really retain the language. So the method of 5-5-5, with its advantages being that it's free, and with its advantages being that it can give you a lot of the basics, and that there really are many hours. I'm not sure how effective all of those hours are for many people. For people that need to work, they're not always available 5 hours a day, 5 days a week. Or I would say the opposite is true. They're really looking for an evening course, something on the side, something they can do with work. And people who are retired often don't want to spend 5 hours a day, 5 days a week in school. So the government Ulpan it sounds very nice in theory, although when it comes down to practice, there's a lot to be desired in the layout of what is being done, and the effectivity of the Ulpan. I do believe that learning a language in smaller pieces is much more effective. The other problem is the method. When this picture is very cute because there are about 10-15 people in a group. Nowadays, for government Ulpans, especially in the big cities, but in most places, classes need 25 people to open, and they have a max of somewhere around 35-40 people. When you're sitting in a class with 35-40 people, if you would just all go around and say one sentence about what you did during the vacation, the whole class would be gone. So what happens in big groups is that the teacher will speak, the students will listen, they'll teach the grammar, they'll write it down. You might learn the grammar very well, but the students are not going to get to open their mouth and speak. And I asked someone who went to Ulpan, I said, how many hours, how many minutes did you have of airtime of speaking in class? And the answer was 0. In many groups, and I'm not sure it's this way everywhere, the teacher speaks, the students listen, and this passive style of learning is a way that, let's say if I'm hearing a history lecture, okay, I can listen to the history lecture, I can even take notes, and then I might be able to say it all back to you. Yeah, in this time, in this date, there was this war. But when you're trying to learn a language, it's not an academic subject. It's a skill that speaking it is something that is acquired by practice. And therefore, if you're in any kind of a framework where the students are not actively speaking, it's just not going to be as successful. You're not going to get the results that you want. It's kind of like me saying to you, so I'm going to teach you how to swim. Okay, there's going to be a pool and there's going to be water and you're going to go like this. And as soon as you go in, you'll practice it. If you're not in the pool, you're not going to be a fluent swimmer. And if you're not speaking Hebrew, you're not going to be a fluent speaker. If the class is not engaging you to actually use the words and speak, it's not going to work. So the setup of the government Ulpanim being for a big group is something that is it's cost efficient. It's not beneficial to the ability to really learn how to speak. In addition to that, the government had an additional benefit. This started for people from all over the world in 2017, and it ran until last year. And this zchut, we call it, this benefit was a private Ulpan. The government would say, we will let you go to a private Ulpan. We will fund it in 100%, 7,500 shekels that you will invest will be returned to you as the course goes along and as you fully participate. At the end, there is an exam, and then the student would end up with a 100% refund. The advantage of this was that there were groups of 4, which made it extremely easy to set up on anyone's schedule, because I can get 4 people on all different levels in the morning, in the evening, in the afternoon, online, in person, in different places. And the other massive advantage of this is in such a small dynamic of 4 or 6 students, each person really gets a chance to speak. Unfortunately, this government, while trying to do better for the Olim and give them 1,000 hours, they did a reform in the government Ulpan, making the private Ulpanim basically not able to function at all. This is a shame. This is something that is very tragic for the Olim, because they've been knocking on our doors and saying, what is going on? We wanted to do the private Ulpan. We heard that it was so great. Everyone that we know did it. They had a group of, just 2 couples that sat together and learned, for example. We're trying to fight to get it back, but right now we don't know what 2025 will bring. There is a chance that there's a little chance that our fight will pay off and that this private Ulpan will return. But as of now, it's basically dysfunctional. They're giving out vouchers to people only after they completed the government Ulpan. But people that can't do the government Ulpan because they can't invest that many hours, or it doesn't work with their scheduling, or a class of 30 people will not work for them, those people are not able to get the vouchers to join the private Ulpan. So this is the situation that we're in. I hope that I'll be a bearer of great news, and I'll be happy to do another one of these if we have that option. But right now, if you really want to learn Hebrew, you're on your own and you get what you pay for. Sorry, but that's what I grew up, American. None of the socialized, and that's the way that it goes. So what should you look for in an Ulpan? If you are looking for a private Ulpan and you're looking for somewhere where you can really move on, where you can learn, if you know something, to go to something, to a lot more. If you don't know Hebrew yet, to get your basics. So there are 3 things that I've pinned down that are the most important things to look for, no matter where it is that you go. If you're looking for an Ulpan, you want to first of all make sure that it's for your level. this is very important because some local places will say, we'll teach Hebrew. Anyone who wants to come to, this, Florida community will come down. And then you'll have people that are absolute beginners that don't know the alphabet, with people that are kind of like, they can say a basic sentence and they can say their Ifo Asherotim, where is the bathroom? And there are people who can actually, read an advanced text, but can't have a conversation, and on and on. So if you want to really be effectively learning, you have to be in your level. What we do at Ulpan La-Inyan, we have two options. One is taking a placement test, and that's a form that you fill out online, and then we tell you where you fit in levels 1 through 8. And the other option is taking a trial lesson, where you have a 15-minute conversation with this guy whose name is actually Guy. Yes, Guy is an Israeli popular name. And he checks how much Hebrew you know and places you in a level. And then it's really precise for an individual, especially because sometimes there's a gap between the reading and writing and the spoken. So you want the level to be right for you. If you're in a class, again, where the level doesn't matter and it's a mixed bag, most likely it's a lecture, again, where the teacher is speaking and the students are passively listening. The second thing to look for is the method. How is it being taught? Is this grammar? Is that what you're looking for? Or is it conversational? That's why the picture for the method is actually two people conversing. If the point of the class is the conversation, then if that's your main goal, the practical usages of the language, you have to be using the practical usage of the language in your class. In Ulpan La-Inyan, we use a method based on the research of Paul Pimsleur, which is based on principles of learning the core vocabulary with learning, repeating the word in graduated interval recall, so that it really makes that word go into your long-term memory storage. And it has a smart repetitions of how many times you need to repeat a word in order to really attain it, and to drill it into your head so that you will not have to think and think. The other is organic learning, learning it within the context of a conversation. Learning words in a list isn't going to cut it for you in a conversation. You'll know how to say a word, but not how to get the sentence out. Organic learning means we're telling a story and it's like a scene and you're the actor and you're like, go ahead, say it. And that's one thing about the method. And finally, there's this aspect of anticipation, that you're always being called upon to recall what you have learned, which is actually the way that we converse. We never know what the next person's going to say and how we're going to answer them back. So this is a little bit about our method. Ulpan La-Inyan is not the only place that's gone to a conversational place. You have to make sure, though, the method is based on learning a skill of speaking a language and not the academic study about the language, unless that's what you're looking for, to learn about the language, kind of in a university type style. One more thing about the method is that there's a lot of hype for what's called Ivrit Be'Ivrit, a method that says, I will only talk to you in Hebrew. For advanced speakers, it could work. But the research shows that teaching you from your native tongue into the language that you are learning is more effective. Because if I think in English and I say to you, what time is it? And you have to say, ma hasha'a, then that's the natural path that's going to go on in your head. You're going to think of, wait, how do I say what time is it? And you're going to say ma hasha'a. And the more you practice it, the more you're going to be able to just pull it out and get those words out when you're looking for it. And the final thing, the third thing I wanted to mention about this is your ideal setup. What do you need in order for it to work? Some Ulpans are only once a week. That's not ideal. Learning a language once a week will not bring you the results of even twice a week, because by the time you get back to it, your mind, you can't recall that much. You're not going to remember. The other part of this setup is that you don't want to commit to more than you're able to do. And that's why that we have flexible things I'll go into in a minute, that you need to have the right setup for you. You don't want to take on too much that you can't live up to and then miss classes, But on the other hand, you don't want to make it too slim so that you won't reach your Hebrew goals. So with us, with Ulpan La-Inyan, we're not the only ones, but let me tell you a little bit about what we have to offer. The first is group courses. Group courses that we used to do in person. Here it's really cute that they're so excited and learning together, but actually the online groups have really nice interactions. The advantage of group courses online is that you learn with people from all over the world, both people preparing to make Aliyah and people that love the Hebrew language, people who have made Aliyah and are working on their Hebrew from the place that they are at all over the world. These are the types of groups that form. The advantage of group courses is the group interaction, the social aspect, learning from other people, from their mistakes and from their stories and so on, and having, breakout conversations. Some people really do these group courses because they want the social aspect of it as well. Our group courses are 2 or 3 times a week for 2 hours. So it's quite an investment of time. And the other option that we have is private lessons. Private lessons have a completely different advantage here of learning at your pace on your own. You don't necessarily have the social interaction, but you have something much more spot on for the individual. People who are planning on making Aliyah might want to work on a specific aspect of their Hebrew. You might want to practice a job interview, learn words around the field that you practice. I have a brother-in-law who is a physical therapist, and he took like a small package of private lessons. He took the hours and he practiced in the PT field, these words. He brought the words he wanted to learn. And when he made Aliyah, he wasn't on such a great level, but he just had the confidence to start speaking. And that package was like a jump start. It got him speaking Hebrew, and he didn't need Ulpan when he came, and now he's really fluent because just that push of starting from a good place is something that really helps, that really makes a difference. And I'm a big fan of private lessons. This is especially great for people that have a big gap between either their reading and writing and their spoken. There are people that that they know how to read perfectly because they read from a siddur, or they are familiar with text, but they don't know how to have a conversation. And then you don't want to waste the time on reading the text that a group would be doing. And the opposite, we have people who grew up to Israeli parents and that don't know how to read and write the things that they know how to say. So the private lessons, you get exactly what you're looking for, and it's very, very specific and appropriate. And we also offer lessons for kids. Kids need something a little bit different, more playful, at a different pace. And we have adapted our program for children. I strongly recommend people that are planning to make Aliyah with children to do at least one private lessons package for the kids, just to build it up so they won't be afraid of it. So that when they come off the boat, they'll be ready they'll say, I know this, I got this. The more that they feel like it's foreign, the more the challenge will feel too much to bear. Everyone should learn before they come, but for kids, it's crucial because it takes down this barrier, this fear. If you give them what they need to get through, their beginning of school or wherever they are in their social scenes, it'll be very, very effective. We offer private lessons to kids from age 7 and up because we want people to be able to read and write in their mother tongue before they're learning a foreign language. I don't think it's effective for children that are younger than the age of 7. I think you should just let them go play in the park for a couple of hours. They'll come back and they'll be spitting back everything that they learned because they're sponges. Finally, one thing that's new that we have to offer that's not for everyone, but we've developed a medical Ulpan for anyone in medical fields. Again, for private lessons, we can offer anyone in any field to focus on their vocabulary. Whatever you're in, you can have a special request to study what it is that you want to. But the medical Ulpan for doctors, nurses, optometrists, dentists, PTs, OTs, PAs, all those professions, we decided to open up a private medical Ulpan because the government could not keep up with the need, with the demand. And it's amazing to learn it online before you make Aliyah and come already ready to interview for jobs in many medical fields. Unless you can speak the language, you cannot start treating people. You don't want to have some kind of error of like, oh, I thought they were saying this and they're actually saying that, and give someone bad medicine. So that this is one of our most exciting new developments. If anyone has any questions, then you are more than welcome to send them to me. We're at ulpan.com. I wanted to thank you all very much for listening, for coming. I just want to end off with a just a little piece of advice that a lot of people want to wait until they've really got it, and then they want to open their mouth. They want to be like, let me be sure I don't sound like an idiot, and then I'm going to open up my mouth and speak Hebrew. When actually, it doesn't work that way. If you really want to learn a language, you need to stumble and fall and try again. What's so nice about doing that in the classroom is that when you're called upon, you can speak and make those mistakes. But once you do get out there, you do it right. We're going for 80%. We're not going for 100%. We want you to get 80% because you'll pick it up as you go along. The more that you expose yourself to Hebrew, the more that you really try to be vulnerable and get the words out of your mouth, the more that you will succeed. Many people have done it, right? And people who think they're not good at languages, it's a little bit more practice, a little bit more homework. And but we really believe that anyone can learn Hebrew. Our youngest students, like I said, have been like 6, 7 years old. Our oldest were well into their 90s and succeeded. Success is something that is not always 100%. And life, you keep learning as we go along. I'm going to pass the mic back to Sydney, and thank you, and say Laila Tov or Yom Tov, depending on where you are.
Let me do one thing. There was one question you had mentioned. Larry wanted to ask about the newspaper that you mentioned, the Easy Hebrew.
Would you like me to put it in the chat?
Please do. Please do.
Ein baya. I'm gonna put the easy chat in. I'm gonna copy it. 1 second. Ein baya, as long as I can find it. Yeah, the easy newspaper is really nice because it's always up to date. And here we go.
And I'll also post it in the WhatsApp, and any other questions that may come afterwards, I'll also post
I
it in the
believe,
WhatsApp.
okay, I believe that it is a Misrad HaChinuch that does this. I'm not sure why I'm not able to do this. Here we go.
And that's an online paper?
It's a paper. Yeah, it's an online, it's a website. It says here that, hold on, that I need to, I'm trying to, oh no, this is direct messaging.
Okay.
1 second.
Ora,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't get a chance to, I will put it in the WhatsApp so that everybody can find it. For those of you, we have the WhatsApp address right here. We now have come to the end of another Toolbox Talk. So this is great. Thank you very, very much. There'll be more information as needed that will be found in the WhatsApp, and we'll begin posting, and hopefully we'll be able to set up a link for this video as well. So I want to thank you, and I want to thank everybody who came in to join the session. Have a wonderful week, and since it's that time of year, also a very happy and healthy Chag Urim, Chanukah Sameach.